with it.
Sounds okay.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. All right. I'll do the intro. How about
You
that?
do the intro.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast. This is episode number 195. I am your host. Your name? Oh, I did it again. I'm your host, Adam, and joining me as always is my co-host, Peter Nikolaidis. How you doing, Peter?
Okay, first off, your name, and I'm full name, but you're just first name. Wow. I think you're selling yourself short. You are our host, Adam Bell.
Yeah, Adam Bell. Yeah. Well, it was better than the symbol formerly.
Adam ding.
Yeah.
The bell symbol. That's your new name. You're Adam Bell emoji.
Bell emoji.
That's your new name. Great. Oh, I am Peter Nikolaidis, and I am doing well. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
I'm also doing well. I've kind of got a little bit of a headache today, but I'm gonna power through.
Power through. Tips for headaches. A little jolt of caffeine can be helpful there.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think I'm a little bit of a weirdo, but for me, sunlight. Like sunlight right on my eyes, not necessarily like staring at the sun, but getting out and having the sun actually hit my eyes, seems to do wonders for me.
Yeah,
so
cool. I think mine is it's usually when the right weather conditions are changing. That's when I get a headache. And right now it's kind of overcast, so it's getting ready to change. But I took 2 ibuprofen and water, and if it continues
in the morning,
if it continues, I'll kind of do what you said. I like to get a Tylenol and some caffeine. That usually helps.
There you go. That works.
But I've been trying to avoid too many ibuprofen or Tylenol. I only take it when I need it.
Yeah. I've only taken ibuprofens orally this year, a couple. I can count them on one hand, a number of times. So I've been trying to avoid those because, generally I avoid them for injuries and running stuff, because, inflammation is your body trying to heal. So you're, really interrupting that process is not great. You're just kind of like, you're masking the symptoms and you're preventing your body from healing, which is not optimal. So I generally try to avoid that. But I also, for a while, I was taking Tylenol as a replacement until you may remember down when I was in Costa Rica, I was taking them and then my legs started to swell up because I was taking too much Tylenol. That was not fun. So, I mean, nothing bad happened, thank God, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. So you had cankles for a little while.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. So what is new? What's new in the world of Adam?
Not a lot of new things. We did complete our harvest. So right now we're headed down of lavender for roaming our own lavender farm. So we have our lavender bundles on the racks. They're drying. This weekend we are headed down to take them out of the racks and put them into bins to store them for production. And then some of them we will use our debudding machine to take the flower buds off of them and make big I'll have big buckets full of nothing but the buds.
Okay, a bucket of buds.
Using those for like sachets and then different things.
There's a dive bar right down the street that sells a bucket of buds.
Bucket of buds?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm thinking of a Mexican place that sells a bucket of Corona. That's close.
I like a bucket of Corona. That's all right.
Bucket of Corona. Hey, I picked my fall race.
You did?
I did. So I set up my quarterly goals, these are my personal quarterly goals. Now, do you still have your KPIs and OKRs and goals and to-do lists for work?
I do.
Okay. I decided that since I was always so terrible about implementing those back when I was in the accountability group where you and I first met,
Mm-hmm.
that I would try to replicate my success and apply them to myself personally.
Okay. I thought it was because you hated accountability.
Well, there's that too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I want all the power and none of the responsibility. Right. So,
I mean, win-win.
but yeah, I mean, what's not to love? Uh, well, as it happens, I so I've had this AirPod in my ear since we started recording and it hasn't been doing anything and it just went dead on me. So I'm gonna just take it out of my ear now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pretend anymore. So I decided I made myself quarterly goals for the last quarter for
Mm-hmm.
Q2. They included some spiritual things like acceptance of things the way they are, personal things like date night every week with my lady, and also home improvement stuff like get the kitchen cabinets painted and redone.
Mm-hmm.
And so far I'd say I had about a 90% success rate on all of those.
That's
um,
fantastic.
I didn't actually get the kitchen cabinet painted, but on June 30th, the last day of quarter two, I signed the contract with the painter to have it done.
Cool.
So just snuck in right under the wire there.
Mm-hmm.
But for this quarter, one of the things, the second to last, the penultimate goal, if you will, was to register for a fall race.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that yesterday. So on September 9th, I will be running the, what's it called? The Tark half marathon, the Trail Animals Running Club. They're based about 15 miles away from here.
Mm-hmm.
And so on September 9th, I'll be doing a half marathon trail run.
Okay.
So they do a 50 miler, 50K. I don't know if they do a full marathon, but they have a 20 miler, a 13 mile, a half marathon, and a 10K. So they've
Mm-hmm.
got all the divisions. You can just choose which one you want to do, and it's just repeated loops of the same things.
Mm-hmm.
So not wanted to do too much, I decided, like, what, a half marathon trail run, that sounds like fun. That sounds like, a good one. And it's only like a 36-minute drive from my house. So I don't even
Oh,
have to like
perfect.
stay anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
get up and out the door at 6 o'clock and, I'm good. So,
Yeah. I
so I'm
ran a
excited
mile
about
and a
that.
half today.
Excellent. I ran 2.5 miles today. Because this morning, then I said, well, now that I actually picked a race, I had better start training for it and I better come up with a training plan.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this works. But all I did was I took the Hal Curner 50K plan, Hal Curner
Mm-hmm.
being a famous ultra marathoner.
Mm-hmm.
And I just basically multiplied or divided everything out by 13 miles. So instead of 31-mile plan, it's a 13.1-mile plan.
Okay.
So I'll be doing all the same drills, just less of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually it's running almost every day. His plans are very interesting in that he doesn't do so much in the way of rest, but he takes like one day off, and then every other day of the week, 6 days a week, you are running. So other plans I've looked at are like, here you have to do cross training, on this day you do strength training. He assumes you're going to do that also,
Yeah.
not instead of. So like, oh yeah, Wednesday is strength training after your 10K run.
After
Yeah,
you
have fun
run.
with that. Have fun with that. So yeah, so that's my new thing. So that's going to keep me, basically that's the next 2 months. And then that's what I'm focusing on. Simultaneously, my girlfriend a month later will be running the Boston 10K for women. So I'm still training her up on that.
Cool.
Yeah, and her
Let's.
plan just about to go into high gear now. It's she just basically what I did is I took two plans, a beginner's plan and an intermediate plan, and I mashed them together.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just finished up the beginner's plan this week. We'll wrap up. And so now she's going to move on to an intermediate plan. So we'll see how this experiment goes too. It'll either be a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fun or I'll be in the market for a girlfriend soon. Cough.
Yeah. Oh no. So well, it's interesting that independently, I also I'm doing a 40-day fast of alcohol. So I'm just kicking it
Oh,
all the way out.
a
And
dry
then
40.
Yeah, a solid 40. And so I'm doing fast of alcohol, proverb a day, where I focus on that proverb all day, and then also track my weight, or track my calories and lose it consistently. So I'm trying to do that every single day. So a
So you use
combination
lose
of,
it. Okay.
yeah, lose it. So trying to do a combination of healthy mind, body, and soul.
Sounds good. For reference, listener of the show, friend of the show, Scott Wilsey and I, we have been using Food Noms for
Food
some time
nom.
now. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I was a MyFitnessPal guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I used that for, geez, must have been 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Food Noms, just like when I moved off of LastPass to 1Password, Food Noms is so much better. It's like, it's one of
Yeah.
those, why didn't I change sooner kind of things. It's like, wow, it's better, right? So
Yeah. Is it better than lose it? Have you ever used that?
Lose It I've never used. I might have downloaded it once while, thinking about looking for a replacement, but I don't think I've put a single calorie in to Lose It.
Yeah. I haven't done any research on food nom, but I'm assuming that the Apple Watch calories feed into that.
Yes, it synchronizes. The health
Yeah.
data synchronizes. Yep.
Because that's what I like, because my water I don't know if my water actually does synchronize. My hydrate water, I don't know that that goes into, it may go into Apple Health water,
Yeah.
but it doesn't go into Lose Its water account.
Okay. Food Noms is aware of hydrate, so it
Okay.
knows that it exists. But as to how much, I don't think it's bi-directional. So I don't remember. Like if I drink a cup of coffee in Food Noms, I don't think it shows up in hydrate. But I definitely, like, if I drink something first and I start the day and I open up Food Noms, it's like early morning water, 5 ounces, and it
Mm-hmm.
shows up in there. So I know it goes one way anyway.
Okay. So I have a question for you about running. I have
Talk to me.
I have experienced an interesting phenomenon, not very unique, but when I run, so at CrossFit, I do the cross training, so it's typically running in the middle. So like today, I ran a mile and a half, but I did them 800 meters at a time, times 3.
Got
So
it.
it was part of our rotation.
Yep.
And we have a hill that we run down and run back up. And when I run down the hill the first time, my calves cramp.
Okay.
And I've done all the normal things. So I drink before I get to the gym. I have consumed 1 liter of water.
Okay.
Um, and I haven't necessarily taken any potassium or banana. I haven't taken any food on at that point, just
Okay.
water.
Okay.
But I do stretch my calves specifically when I know we have a run. So
Okay.
I do kind of a kneeling stretch. I'm not sure what it's. I don't remember the yoga where you're on your knees and your feet are flexed, and I do that
Yep.
calf, and then I'll
Yep.
do calf stretches up against the bar. So I'm taking my foot, bending it back,
Yep.
but I cannot get that calf not to cramp on the first hill. But if it starts to cramp, when it gets real bad, I walk down the hill and I walk back up. And by the time I walk back up, it's warm. It's fine then. And then I can
Okay.
run the next of it. I can run
Okay.
the next one fine.
Hmm. Interesting. So you're stretching them, but
Mm-hmm.
they're still cramping.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, another factor.
yep, yep,
I'm
yep.
wearing knee braces. I wear neoprene knee braces. So
Okay.
there's tension at the top of them.
Yeah,
Maybe, maybe not.
maybe. I have found my cramping situation. So I don't deal with cramps much. The only time I usually have to is when I do my strength routines. If I don't do lunges regularly, the day after I do lunges, I always seem to overdo it. So lunges always overdo it. So the day after I do lunges, I'll feel cramps, but not in my
Mm-hmm.
calves. It's usually my hamstrings and my quads where I'll feel those.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the only thing I would say is I would consider doing calf lifts as warm-ups or as a regular, so you're
Oh,
just
oh
like
yeah,
press up
yeah.
onto your toes.
Yeah.
I would consider doing a bunch of those, and you can just add this like to your daily stretching or warm up routine.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. I added, so notionally, I added those to my daily push ups, pull ups, calf lifts routine,
Mm-hmm.
which as you know, I fell off the wagon on. But they're like the easiest to do, really.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing calf lift. You can do them while you're standing at the desk. They're
Mm-hmm.
really easy. You can also do them one leg at a time for extra, challenge. So if
Mm-hmm.
you want to break them up, so you can do, I just did like 4 on my left, and now I'll do 4 on my right.
Mm-hmm.
You can also do deficit calf raises. So you stand on a step. And if you're going to do this, I highly recommend for safety's purposes, you stand on a bottom step, on a bottom set of stairs, not at the top of stairs. But you basically let yourself hang off by your toes or by the balls of your feet and then bring yourself back up. Right.
Uh-huh.
So those are some exercises that will likely strengthen the calves and help you with that. The other thing I would do is start foam rolling if you don't already.
Mm-hmm.
Get a foam roller or a Theragun style massage gun.
And roll the calves
Um,
before.
Roll the calves. I would roll them out before, and more importantly, I would do it after.
Mm-hmm.
But you could try both, right? Just to warm them up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would look at. Yoga, we don't do like if you're in like a high lunge position, you're stretching the calves,
Mm-hmm.
the back of the ankle. There's a lot that you can do for that, but I think in this case, I think like manipulation and massage and strengthening is probably going to serve you better.
Yeah. Because it does only happen when I'm going down the hill. When I run up the hill, no problem. But it's going down.
And it's weird because usually people, when they're going downhill, they usually complain about their quads, not their calves.
Mm-hmm.
Are you heel striking? Do you land on your heels?
Probably. I mean,
Okay.
I don't really strike strong on my heels. I mean, it's pretty flat as far as I try
Okay.
to aim I don't try to land on my toes, but it's kind of a flat hit.
Okay. So next question. When you're going down, does it feel like you're usually putting on the brakes? Are you
Yes.
trying to skip it? Okay. How steep is this hill?
Uh, I mean, not terribly steep.
Okay.
You wouldn't, you couldn't push a car up it,
Okay.
not by yourself. Yeah.
Okay. But with a friend, you could push it up a car? Up it?
A couple friends.
So here's what I would do. And this is something that I was working on in my ultra marathon. Learn to love the downhills
Flex
and
into it and
get
go.
faster.
Yeah.
Right. Now that's dangerous because if you overdo it, you face plant while you're going downhill.
Oh,
But again, usually, people have problems on hills is because they're just basically hitting the brakes so much. And I'm
hmm.
just wondering if you're heel striking on the way down, that might be what's going on, is you're trying to stop yourself pretty much with every step.
Yeah.
So
I think you're on it.
instead, if you start to like embrace the downhill, and you can do it with control,
Hmm.
but essentially, feel a little more free as you're floating down the hill rather than trying to break with every
Yeah.
step. I would try that, and I would be tempted before you change your strength or massage or calf lifts, the routines.
Hmm.
Just try, gently try to go down at a
Hmm.
reasonable pace, but let the gravity, enjoy some free speed, basically.
Hmm.
Enjoy some of that and see what happens. Maybe put on, knee and elbow pads first too.
Why are you running with a helmet? Don't worry about
Don't worry, not important. I'm not going to. Oh,
it.
that's why. Got it. Thanks.
Ah.
So yeah, I would try that. And
Cool.
then, and I would give that a couple of times, and then, from there start to, maybe incorporate the other stuff. But
Hmm.
whenever I make changes like that, I always like to give it a little time and see, like, did what I did just fix things, or was it something else,
Hmm.
etc.
Yeah, that's why we're good at what we do.
That's right, because we troubleshoot.
Yeah.
We don't just randomly throw stuff at the wall and, oh, hey, look, something stuck. I don't know what it is, but something stuck.
I tried 5 things. Which one was it? I don't know.
I don't know.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. Oh, cool. All right. So couple new things. Well, our podcast from June 16th is now live. I used our retro van artwork. Do you remember years ago you had to drive your parents' Astro van?
Oh, I wish I could forget that.
So that is our art, or it's our regular artwork with the van on. So
Awesome. I love it. That's great. That's great.
No, I was getting everything ready to publish. I was like, what's this one? Rolling. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Rolling. The
So we got
retro
that
van.
retro van. And
I like
then
it.
for all the security conscious people out there, we have a new certificate on our website. Now,
Hey.
the old one didn't expire. It would
Good.
have expired at the end of the month, but we got the new one up. So
Excellent. All right. Are you doing those manually using Let's Encrypt? How are you managing those?
GoDaddy. I just buy a GoDaddy certificate, and I have to download the certificate, upload the certificate, and activate the certificate. Don't
Oof.
really know why I have to do that when I buy it from them, but they do want you to pay for that service.
Yep. Yeah, I've moved everything that's if something is really important, I'll use a signed cert from a reputable certificate authority. But for most things, like I would say something like, that's important as this podcast, I would be perfectly happy with the Let's Encrypt certificate. So
Yeah, what I want is I don't want there to be any browser compatibility. I
yeah,
don't want any browser to say, "Oh, question mark."
I've never had anything with Let's Encrypt have a problem.
Really?
Yep, never had a problem. It's just I've had more. Only time I had a problem a long time ago. It's probably the same thing that GoDaddy was using, but I had like an intermediate certificate authority. Was not supported by XYZ browser and something. But now it doesn't. It's just not a factor.
If you're using it, can you choose how many years can you choose for your certificate?
Well, Let's Encrypt. The max I believe they give is 90 days, but part of the system is it automatically renews everything for you. So it just becomes a cron job, and it just cycles and redoes it every 60 or so days.
Well, that's cool.
Yes.
I've never,
And it's free.
yeah, I've never used them. I mean, I've heard of them, but I've never used them.
Yep. Worth looking into.
Let's encrypt.
Let's Encrypt. What else we got?
So, are you experiencing Microsoft spam quarantine issues right now?
Not yet, but maybe I will soon as I migrate yet another customer over to Microsoft 365.
You guys aren't experiencing that at the hospital or anything?
The hospital for which I do a lot of work is on-prem Exchange.
Oh.
Because
yeah, they're too big.
yeah, let's go with that. I'm gonna just zip my mouth right now.
I'm just glad I do not have any Exchange servers in my life.
I gave up my last Exchange server. I want to say it was like 5 or 6 years ago. I don't miss it for a split second.
No. I mean, I did back in the day because I really felt awesome having my own mail server. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But when it became my responsibility to make sure companies' email servers were online all the time, it stunk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, running your own mail server, not just Exchange too. I mean, running Exchange is its own special breed of,
Mm-hmm.
torture. But running, any mail server, whether it's Postfix or SendMail, IMAP server and all that stuff, it's just a hassle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a serious hassle. And, I know people who do it like a badge of honor, like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, yeah, except when you lose a weekend because, you got blacklisted because such and such and this. And I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
not
I
worth
loved my first mail server, and I can't remember. I think the company name I want to say was Internet Anywhere. Was the software vendor, and shoot, I can't remember the mail, but I was able to program my POP credentials in there, go out to my provider and like pull down emails from the provider. I was able to also send things to it. So like I had Comcast emails, and so I would be able to grab all those and point them all.
it. Hmm.
Internet Anywhere was what it was. And but then once people found it, I had to fight hackers and
Yep. It's just you give up a lot when you don't run your own mail server, and almost all of it is stuff you don't want in the first place. So give it up and be
yeah.
good. Be happy you did.
So what here's what here's what the rest of the world is experiencing with Office 365 right now is you send me an email, it goes into quarantine. You're like, oh, not a problem. I'll whitelist Adam. Here's his domain. I'll whitelist him because I want to receive all emails from him. He's a valid sender. You go in, you whitelist, and Microsoft ignores your policy that you've created. Your whitelist
Oh,
policy is being ignored.
that's helpful.
It's completely helpful. So every one of your rules are ineffective, and you tell Microsoft, "Hey, we have a problem here," and they're like, "Well, whitelist it."
Do we? Do we though?
But do we though? Did you really want to receive that email from Adam
Do
anyway?
we? Do we have a problem, or do you have a problem?
Yeah. So we are informing our clients as they're like, well, here's the thing. Well, it is a hassle. It is a first world problem to have to check quarantine for your email.
Sure.
But the worst part of that is something about the encoding is breaking once it hits um, in the quarantine. So
Okay.
those HTML emails that you get, they're being ripped apart. So you release it and you get this gobbledygook links, pictures, are missing. And then the users are freaking out. I can't sign this DocuSign, whatever, because I can't click the links on them. And that is actually a real problem.
Sure.
The quarantine, that's a first world problem if you can get it. Yeah.
So it's interesting. It sounds like it's tearing the apart, and giving it's trying to give the trying to give you back a recreated um version of the email. Like it's tearing
Mhm.
it apart and trying to give you a sanitized version.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. I think that's what they're trying to do. So if a virus is in it, you could still receive an email, but it's pulled it out of it.
Yeah, you'd think though if it came back clean that it would have been, let go.
Hmm.
I just got a notification that one of my customers' websites is down. Can we pause for a minute?
Sure. The website is down.
The website is down.
Zoom recording.
Resume. All
And we're
right.
back.
Sorry about that. I had a slight disruption there from a website being down and needed to restore from a backup. So,
the website is down.com.
oh, I know the website is down all too well. Yes, I just shared that with my girlfriend a few weeks ago, and she actually thought it was kind of funny. So yeah, that was
Yeah.
good.
Third one from the top. No, the third one from the bottom.
No, from the
All right.
did
I
you
just
reboot? Yeah, I rebooted. How many times? 3 times. You tell me I always reboot 3 times.
yeah. Hey, you're gonna, yeah, we'll do. You gotta reboot it 2 more times. Yeah.
Oh man, yes,
IP
that is
telephony.
a classic. That is a classic.
Oh,
Okay.
so anyway, so I did have a follow. I don't. Well, I thought
Yes.
we put a pin in it. So one of the things was, can brain cells regenerate? And we,
Yes, I noticed that.
yeah. So I found it on the internet, so it must be true. Center center of the cell, brain cells can regenerate. They're actually dedicated to the brain and cells, and they were kind of an interesting website. But so the question is, if you experience brain damage to your cells through physical disease, a seizure, stroke, those kind
Yes.
of things, can those cells grow back? Generally speaking, it's a difficult process to get those cells to grow back, but it's
Yes.
not impossible.
Okay.
So there are a couple of things. Well, our brain has it has a redundancy set in it with the specific spheres. If one part of the sphere becomes damaged, there is the potential for growing it back
Hmm.
on the other side. But that's not replacing dead cells. So
Right.
I did a little bit of search. So I'm going to read from the website centerofthecell.org. It's I don't, they're from the UK, but it says, your brain cells regenerate? So let's start
Okay.
with glia. Glia cells can replicate the same way as almost all of our other cells do, by mitosis. This is a process in which the cell grows bigger and bigger before splitting itself in half to make two new identical cells. This process can be repeated over and over, allowing them to regenerate whenever they want to. Neurons, which are your brain cells, on the other hand, are trickier. Since they are so massive, it's completely impossible for them to split evenly in mitosis. Furthermore, every single neuron is part of a huge circuit. So if a group of neurons decided to take a break and divide up, we'd be left with a big gap and unable to function properly.
Aha.
So this is where the rumor comes from that neurons cannot regenerate. And scientists actually believe this to be true for a long time. So science has said that. So, however, science has recently discovered that neurons can actually regenerate using a really unique method in an area of the brain when it gets damaged, called neurogenesis. So what happens
Okay.
is the brain uses a secret supply of neural stem cells and transforms them into new neurons without using mitosis. Stem cells are a bit like baby cells, which haven't been given a job yet. Maybe this is why scientists call them immature cells. So there's lots of applications where that could, disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's,
Yes.
those diseases, if we could put those neurons back together,
Yeah.
and those people could then be thinking properly again. And then even, alcohol abuse, you can have alcoholic seizure, you can have a car wreck, you can, a stroke, things like that. But I think that while the what there's a fine I don't know what the finite number of stem cells that you have in your body, because it
Yeah,
says,
I have no idea.
yeah. So I think that that's the big problem, is getting those stem cells to do the neurogenesis. And so I think that's probably the key, and it's probably easier said than done.
Right. So neurons and stuff, those are the ones that you don't get back, essentially. That's what we're saying.
Yes, without neurogenesis.
Without neurogenesis.
Yeah.
So those are the tricky ones. So
Hmm.
maybe and if I'm correct, isn't that what like alcohol kills?
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
There you go. So well, there you go.
But it is right now, this is, semi theoretical science, and not quite theoretical. I mean, it's they know how to do it, but we also know how to kill cancer, but we haven't alleviated all cancers. So it's probably a long
Right.
ways to go. I mean,
Yeah, knowing how to do something on a small scale and then doing it, at scale is not the same.
yeah, yeah. The tricky parts of, like I said, we can kill cancer. The problem is a lot of times we're killing other good cells, and sometimes you can't kill all the cancer, and you know, so we just need to we download our you know binary brains into a digital format, and then we'll keep functioning.
So that bit of follow-up was what, how many months overdue now? We finally got that taken care of.
Ooh, who's counting?
I know, but what I'm saying is, dear listener, better late than never, right?
Yes.
So, we got you that. We promised you we were going to put a pin in that. We put a pin in that. And Adam just actually finally pulled that pin out. So, well done.
I pulled the pin.
Well done. I like that. Excellent. That's our bit of follow-up. Do we have any other follow-up or feedback that we need to address today?
We don't have any that we will address today, other than that.
Okay. Very good.
Unless you
All
had
right.
some. What about a nifty? Do you have
Well,
any
I don't have a nifty, but I have a potential nifty.
potential?
Another potential nifty. And I think maybe we should just have a friend of the show, Scott Wilsey, on to cover it. He sent me this this morning or late last night. He sent me a link to a Mac utility called Text Buddy.
Text buddy.
Yes. And I have gotten as far as downloading it and taking a quick look at the website about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a Mac app for manipulating text, a Swiss Army knife for plain text that is there when you need it and hidden when you don't. It's a single window of text with 137 useful commands you can run to transform, sort, and filter your text into the format you need, extract some data, or jot down a quick note.
Okay.
So it's a free download. I think it's like a $35 purchase. I'm going to check it out to see if it's something useful. Scott often comes up with useful things, so I will have to check this one out. But I got as far down as downloading it, but I haven't gone any further. So.
Yeah. Well, something I do. I have what you wouldn't know until I tell you right now. So something that something that I do is I keep a text editor open a lot, because there's a lot of data that I'm copying and pasting, and it's at a crappy format, and I just want it to be text.
Yes.
Even though, Google has where you can choose to place as plain text.
Yes.
I find the most efficient way is drop that stuff in a notepad, clear out what I don't want, and then I've got this text. And then sometimes I just take notes. So
whoa,
your do not disturb is disturbing.
I thought I was in do not disturb mode, but someone just disturbed me.
But sometimes, I have something that you tell me I might want to write down, and it's not something really important that I need to have a document forever. But I'll go ahead and write it down. Send, Peter asked for this information. Send Peter this, and I'll just write it down. But the problem with that is it's not synchronized anywhere. And if my computer restarts, it's not saved anywhere. So,
okay, and this is in a text editor, you say?
Yeah. So Windows text editor.
You're using the wrong text editor.
So what text? Because I like notes.
Yep.
But I'm not always on a Mac.
Right. Oh, okay. But Notes is not a text only thing.
Yeah, it's got too much stuff.
Yeah, right. So there's Text Edit for Mac.
And I use that some.
Yep. But again, that is also, even now, Text Edit also supports rich text and stuff too. So it's not the best for stripping what you're doing, what you're describing.
I have to kick it out of that. It does have go to plain text mode. So I open it up, start it, plain text.
So I have been pretty happy for the last several months with TextMate on the Mac. TextMate. And TextMate will basically emulate the same behavior as a Windows editor that I use, Notepad++. And what that is it automatically takes copies and basically keeps a buffer. It auto saves. So if you just quit the editor, when you reopen it, all of your open windows and stuff are right there.
Okay. So does Notepad++ do that
Yes, it
too?
does. Yep. I believe
Because
that's the default behavior in both of them.
okay, because I have Notepad++ installed. I
Yep.
just keep it. I keep it for, well, I used to do some programming. I don't do any programming anymore, but when I wanted to do repeatable tasks in a
Yep.
text edit, that's what I
Yep.
used.
Yeah. We actually, Scott and I talked about this on Friends with Beer some time ago, Friends with Brews, and we were discussing that and how like Visual Studio Code, VS Code, is now cross-platform on Windows, Linux, and Mac.
Yeah.
So if I was doing a project where I needed to be moving back and forth between the two, and I had that readily available, I would probably use that just to have a more consistent experience across
Hmm.
platforms. I got as far as installing it on most of the systems that I use on a daily basis, and then I stopped doing any work with coding that I was working on, and I went back to just TextMate and Notepad++. So
Yeah.
those are my go-to editors now.
Cool. I'll give that a go.
Yeah.
Because what I've ended up doing is I have OneDrive on my Windows computers. I hate OneDrive, by the way, but I have OneDrive, and then I just save those documents in my documents with today's date, and then I've
Yep.
got them if I need them.
Great. All right. Well, on that note, should we wrap it up?
We should wrap it up.
Well, dear listener, if you want to get a hold of us, you can find us at blurringthelinespodcast.com. You can also find Adam at Sublime Comp on Twitter. He's also at sublimecomp.com. He's at rrlavenderfarm.com. I'm pretty sure he's on Facebook, and I believe his company is as well. So you might be able to find him there as well.
Yeah.
And you can find him right here. And then for me, you can find me, oh boy, you can find me at blurringthelinespodcast.com. That's as far as we're going to go. If you want to find me, go there. You can find a link. You can find a link to me from there, can't you? I think you can.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So you'll find me from there. That's it. On that note, let's just push that big red button.
Big red button.